got your muse and you have to be inspired. And that is probably why I think Bob is making some of the most exciting work presently, apart from us.
Yeah.
Never, but let's go. Hold on. Wait. There we go.
Here is the point where we explain one of our other terms and one of our other sections. Glossary term is dead babies.
Dead babies. Because we are macabre.
So, yes, we're going to speak up a bit because, as you'll notice, we've finally got to the steps of St Paul's to do something.
Finally,
we have been theatrical.
So dead babies is a term that means the idea is that you have to sometimes kill your babies. And so we have the dream cloud.
The dream cloud.
And then we had
the land of the salad goblin. Charles, yes.
And that's where
the Charles.
That's where the dead babies went.
Yes.
You know, as for dead babies, the majority of the first iteration of Boxes and Stones, we
culled. We had a massive baby cull.
I do. Okay. So what's our next section?
So it is. We're going to discuss dead babies. And,
just in total.
The dead babies. The major choices that we made, and there's parts of the show that we abandoned. So specifically, I feel it's really important that we look at characters such as Charles, who showed Charles the Salad Goblin, evolved from a sketch where we were imposing an epic narrative upon an everyday occurrence. In this particular case, the epic day out. So, can you hear me, Annie?
Yes, I can.
Excellent.
I'm just moving ever so slightly closer.
Excellent. We're just going to pause now in our documentation
We're not going to pause.
No, this is live.
Excellent.
I never liked Charles.
Tom hates Charles.
I hate Charles. I found Charles to be masturbatory, to be completely honest. That I found it to be Lawrence just doing a silly voice and a silly face, and I didn't think Charles actually provided any content. I know people disagreed with that because it was funny. As we learnt in improv, you don't necessarily need to do the thing that is funny to make the best humour.
But what Charles was, for me, was an element of the process breaking into a narrative and bringing out this really postmodernism, wall-collapsing character. This thing that had just been discarded. Charles is, for me, the perfect dead baby.
Yes.
So that was my love for him. Also, I really like doing the voice. It's very fun.
Fortunately, the character Lawrence eventually played would never do that.
It didn't. The final iteration of the show, there wasn't a place for Charles. So Charles was killed off.
I argue this version of postmodernism is the idea that postmodernism equals weird, which is not. It's like when you say something's surreal, you mean a very particular thing, not just weirdness.
It being an odd experience.
Yeah. And now that's the other reason we got rid of it, because Charles would ruin Lawrence's voice.
Charles absolutely destroys my throat. It's like my Louis Armstrong impression. Annihilates my throat. So other moments of removal.
We got rid of the idea. We kind of talked about this. The trapped within the own narrative of our creation, and that the ultimate way to escape is to break that narrative. But unfortunately, by doing that, you're playing right into the. Lawrence hates Beckett, but we made an incredibly Beckett play.
It's really rather frustrating. It is accessible Beckett, however, which is the important thing. I mean, the reason I dislike Beckett and wanted to try and stay away from it is he presents this idea that if the audience doesn't understand it, then it's their own fault. Whereas I maintain if you don't understand something in part of the theatre, the likelihood is the artist hasn't made it clear.
I maintain, actually something Chris Good talked to us about, if you go see a piece of theatre and you only get, like, let's say an aspect of it, but you enjoyed that, that is enough, that is a success.
Yes.
There is that possibility. Again, I did this. The death of the author is something I'm particularly interested in, especially with my own plays where I may hand it over to the director and go, I hope I've done a good enough job that you'll get this, but when you make certain artistic choices, if that's what you've read, I can't, as the writer, come back and say, no. An example I love for Death of the Author is Asimov. Isaac Asimov is in a lecture about Asimov. and the lecturer is saying, oh well, Asimov meant this and this, and Asimov's humming and hawing, and then gets up and says, sir, I am Isaac Asimov, and you are completely wrong on all my ideas. And the lecturer says, Mr. Asimov, with all due respect, as the writer, you have the least right to be here talking about it. Now sit down. So I think I think I've got the wonderful thing of being a self-loathing artist. So it all balances out.
So there's that choice. There's also the removal of the script.
Yes.
Which is a huge thing for us. Tom and I are writers.
Yes.
We are very good at writing.
Yes.
It is something we take great pride in.
Indeed.
And it is also one of our comfort zones, I would say, quite happily.
Yes.
So, naturally, as soon as we felt we had good material,
we wanted to keep it.
We wanted to keep it, and we wanted to write it down.
Yeah.
This led to the creation of the script, which dragged us, I feel, away from our practice, in a way. We spent a lot of time writing the script, and not enough time doing with the script.
Part of this came from having that month of inability to actually get it. Again, going back to our dear friend Brett would never put chairs in rehearsal spaces. So he says, if you're having to sit down, you're not focusing on the art.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of getting it on its feet.
Which was a great thing for us. But the removal of the script was a huge part, because it led us to a more improvised, more natural, more organic piece of theatre.
Although, again, if we're criticising our own work, we didn't get away from it as much as I think we would have liked to. There was, especially Lawrence had a really, really good poem, but didn't make any thematic sense within the work we were making. And then when we got to the point of going, it's a bit,
it was
again, Lawrence, love him as I do, panicked and was like, we need to keep working on what we've got. And I'm just like, fine, throw it out the wall, see what sticks. And Lawrence is like, no, there's a comfort in the beauty of these words. Which again, the poem itself, we cut and we trimmed and there's really interesting.
That poem was about 2 months worth of work.
Yeah.
It was a solid level of work. Now the reason it stayed in for me was because it was representing a form of narrative that wasn't otherwise being represented. We also played around with creating a new poem, a new story. Which within the time frame.
I never heard.
No.
I never heard. And Lawrence said he did it, but I did. I completely believe you. Yeah. I'm just saying that story exists in the what if.
What if? Yeah. It descended into the dream cloud.
Yeah. Which I presume it's still there.
It's still there. It's in the book.
Actually, have you written it?
Yes.
You're going to put it in the...
Yes,
okay.
It's going in the sheet.
So
it'll be in the guide.
You are reading it. I haven't seen it, but you can see it. What else did we majorly cut?
Major cuts. Also, the flipping of the coin.
The flipping the coin, the removal of the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, because we felt that removed the autonomy of the audience side. And I actually put this in my essay, the idea that the annoyance of if you had come and seen the show, gone through all of it, and then just gone, oh, it's heads again. Well, I also think that's, I had this with another show where I had a similar thing where the audience got to decide on the ending, and they intentionally rigged the ending because an audience had seen the first night and wanted to see the second night. Unfortunately, the second ending resulted in the death of a character at their feet. So everyone's like, yes, we want to see this person dead. We want to see a dead baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is Dead Babies, and Broken Bird has finally managed to get something on the steps of St. Paul's. Off we go.
Bye-bye.